Okay, so I'm gonna get things started. I might have emailed with you, so if so, it's great to see you tonight. Great to have you here. My name is Genevieve Wagner. I am the Senior Manager of Public Programs at the Municipal Art Society. Um, and sorry, one moment. And I'm really excited to teach everyone more about Jane's Walk. Thank you so much for being involved in the festival as a walk leader. Um, so tonight I'm just going to take some time to do a little training session, and I'm also going to have time for one of our steering committee members, Jess Joseph. She will be also giving a little training. Um, and Jess is a longtime walk leader and is a member of our inaugural steering committee. And that's going to be a great way to get some tips and tricks about how to lead a walk. So I'm going to get things started. I'm going to share my screen again. Sorry if that was a little clunky at the beginning. Um, right. Can everyone see my screen? It should be a PowerPoint. Okay, great, cool. Okay. So like I said, I'm Genevieve Wagner. I've been doing Jane's Walk for almost 5 years. I love this festival. It's my favorite part of this job. It's the best. As you probably know, the festival happens the first weekend in May, so May 1st through the 3rd. The festival is hosted by the Municipal Art Society of New York, but it is a global festival that started in Toronto in 2006. And the festival is in honor of Jane Jacobs, who was an urbanist and a writer and an activist who did a lot of work in New York City, famously opposing Robert Moses when he wanted to build the Lower Manhattan Expressway through Greenwich Village and other neighborhoods. But she spent the latter half of her life in Toronto. So when she passed away, her friends in Toronto created Jane's Walk in honor of her. The Municipal Art Society started hosting the New York City chapter of this festival in 2011, and now we are the largest chapter of all of the festivals. And it's a really great culmination of all the work that we do as an organization. As you can see on the screen, we've been around since the 1890s. We're a very old storied nonprofit, but we advocate for a more livable city through education and advocacy and public programming and research. So Jane's Walk is a really great combination of all the work that we do as an organization. Like I said, Jane's Walk happens around the globe and it happens on average in over 200 cities every year. So it's really special to be a part of this global community that happens not only in New York, but are all around the world. Okay, so I'm going to give some information about leading a walk, about logistics on the MAS side, some reminders, and then Jess is going to dive deeper into some advice, walk leader to walk leader. So, as you shared in your submission form, um, we ask that you have a starting location and a route that you establish for your walk. So the starting location that you submitted in your submission form is where you'll be starting your walk. That's the location that people have gotten in their submission form when they've signed up for your walk. So we want to make sure that you know where your walk is starting and so the information lines up with people who are attending the festival. So that's just a note, a thing to look into. You can look at your submission form copy, like the email that you received, and you can make sure that that information lines up. And then people will, be meeting there at the walk. I will give some more information about the logistics and how that works with like reminder emails and all of that. But these are some great reminders to think about as you are planning your walk. Maybe you've already done this, made your route, recruited a volunteer, done your research. But these are really good things to keep in mind between now and May 1st. Um, and I want to note that recruiting a volunteer is something that can be really helpful. Many people have already submitted a co-leader who will be leading their walk with them. But especially if it's your first time leading Jane's Walk, it's really helpful to have someone who is there to lead your walk with you and provide some moral support. So that's something to think about. If you don't have a co-leader yet, you can also just bring a friend along to help you lead your walk. Yeah, so here are some reminders for the festival. And many of you have maybe already done your research, but I also wanted to highlight Now that you're at the stage of you know what your walk is, you know the basics. If you want to do extra research and get more information to add to your script or what you'll be sharing on your walk, these are some great resources. You can take a photo of this slide. I'll also share a recording of this training with everyone so that you can reference it later. But these are really great resources, archives, great places to find photographs, and also written information that you can integrate into your walk. So yeah, I wanted to highlight these. We say that walk leaders don't need to be an absolute expert on the information that they are sharing, but it is good to share information that is correct. And it's also fun, to do this research so that you're sharing accurate information, and also so you can dive deeper into a topic that you're interested in. So uh, definitely look at these resources. And we have a librarian at MAS that can also provide support when it comes to resources and research. Her name is Erin Butler. Her information is on the screen right now, but you can also find her information on our website. So she's another really great person to talk to as well as you're doing your research. And then here are some other logistics that I wanted to shine a light on. I know a lot of walk leaders have had questions about just, how things work on the back end. So I wanted to remind people that the schedule, as you know, has been announced, and anyone can sign up for a walk. The festival is free and open to the public. And when a walk attendee signs up for your walk, they get a confirmation email. This has the date and the time and the meeting location for the walk. They will also receive a reminder email that has all the same information in it. So that we handle. And then day of, we don't require that you take attendance. We won't be giving you the names of who's attending the walk, but we will give you a head count so you know who to expect. We'll give you a number of who has signed up for the walk so that you know, okay, like 15 people are going to come. I have that in my head. So we'll email folks with that number later this week, then we'll give another update next week before the festival. So the information that you'll have will be how many signups you've gotten, and the people who sign up for your walk will get the meeting location, the date, and the time. In your submission form, if you chose to share your phone number, they'll also get your phone number. Yeah, but making sure that the meeting location information that you shared is accurate and works is important so that attendees can have the proper information. If any updates need to be made, that's okay. We'll just email people. But it's important to have that info, aligned. Some other logistics and things to keep in mind. Jess will get into these things, but we recommend that you get to your meeting location early. A lot of our attendees are really excited, and they might also arrive early, so it's good that you're there as well early to meet and greet people. And another thing that I'll mention on this list is, like I said, we'll give you the count of who has signed up for your walk, but it's really important to take a head count at the beginning of your walk and then keep in mind what this head count is as you go, so that no one drops off, so you can keep stock of who is there. Sometimes people will drop off. They'll be like, hey, I'm gonna like head out, and that's okay. But it's good to keep a head count and keep stock of who is in your group as you're leading your walk. Sometimes people will also join the walk who haven't signed up, and that's okay. People often maybe are curious about what's happening and they want to, join the conversation. So that's also all right. And occasionally people will also be like, I know this is a Jane's Walk. I know it was sold out, but I'm here. I want to attend. We also allow that. You can use your discretion, but, the more the merrier. And yeah, so those are some things to keep in mind as well. And then some other things that you'll have day of, some resources that we'll provide for you, will be provided in our walk leader packet, which I've emailed about. This is in the mail. It'll be sent to you. So expect to receive yours this week or next week. If you don't have your packet by like the end of next week, you can let us know and you can come by our office and pick up materials that you need. But one thing that you'll be getting is a Jane's Walk fan. These are these yellow church fans that are a staple Jane's Walk item. And this is great to use at the beginning of your walk to find all of your attendees. And then also throughout your walk, it's a great thing to hold up so that people like know where you are. And it also has Jane's Walk and MAS on it. So it's a fun way of advertising the festival. Additionally, we'll give you these stickers that say I walked today on them. And these stickers are a keepsake that attendees can have with them after they attend the walk. And so we'll give you a little packet of these. It's really fun to be walking around New York City the whole festival weekend and seeing people in these little stickers. So they're fun to share with people. We'll also include a Jane's Walk t-shirt. Like I noted on the slide, if you submitted your walk before March 24th, you are guaranteed a shirt. I usually get a shirt to everyone, but we've had a lot of submissions this year, so some late submittees might not get a shirt. But let me know if you have questions about that. We usually do a later run, like an order of shirts, but keep that in mind. But if you are getting a shirt, that'll be in the packet as well. We'll also include this little card that has an example script of what you can say at the beginning of your walk, giving context about Jane's Walk and about MAS. So that's on this little card. On the other side is a great list of 10 tips about leading walks, leading tours. That was written by our director of tours, Ted. So it's a great resource, a good thing to have in the back of your pocket, just so you can use that as you're preparing to lead your walk. And we'll also have some flyers in the packet. Those you can use to advertise the festival, to give to your friends. And then we'll also have stickers that are just for you to use. These are the stickers we have. So those are just for you, a personal keepsake as well. Okay, a few other things before I pass it on to Jess. Um, so as you probably know, we have a Jane's Walk email, which is janeswalknyc@mas.org. This is where you can send any questions about the festival. I know some people have, questions about a variety of logistical things that they've emailed me. It's a great thing to just email that inbox. Might take a little bit for me to, get back to you, but I will reply to those questions. You can also call us as well. This is the phone number that you can use. And then you can press the extension for events in Jane's Walk, and that'll go to my phone and we can chat. This is for any questions, but also if you want to just talk through logistics, you're anxious about leading a walk for the first time. I'm happy to talk on the phone, happy to email. I want you to feel like I'm there for you to support you throughout the festival. So those are the places where you can answer any question, ask any questions, and you can talk to the Jane's Walk team. Some other reminders is that the festival is rain or shine. We've had many rainy Jane's Walks in the past. My first Jane's Walk in 2022, it rained basically every single day. But with that being said, if your walk happens to occur in a location where you feel like it would be dangerous for people to be out in the rain, maybe your walk is by the water or somewhere that gets really slippery, then you can communicate that to us and we can cancel the walk and notify any registrants. So that's a thing to keep in mind. But otherwise, the festival is rain or shine. People always turn out for it. So it's a really great, example of how New Yorkers are, going to come together despite rain and wind. But yeah, just keep that in mind. But fingers crossed, we have a very sunny Jane's Walk this year. And then lastly, I want to mention that if you communicated in your form that you want some extra support or that you want to provide support for fellow walk leaders, we will be reaching out to you and assigning you someone or assigning you to a walk where you can attend that walk and maybe provide help with keeping the group together or answering any questions, stuff like that. So I really value how walk leaders are able to help each other. So look out for an email about that if you indicated that you wanted support or that you want to provide support. And then yeah, some reminders about marketing. I know I've shared some flyers via email that you can use to spread the word about Jane's Walk, and the printed flyers as well that you'll receive in your packet. Also, if you're coming to the office hours this Wednesday at our office, I will have extra flyers and stickers that you can pick up so that you can spread the word with some print marketing as well. And yeah, some other resources to use. I've linked to these in our emails, but the FAQ document is really helpful. That's also linked on our website. And then the Walk Leader Training Guide, great thing to look at. It's a lot of what I'm sharing today, but in a printed way. It has a lot of great examples of past walks, also some great resources for doing research. So definitely check out the Walk Leader Guide if you want to read through it and get some more insights on how to lead a walk. Okay, so I'm going to take some time to answer some questions and then I'll pass it along to Jess. All right. And I see there's a question in the chat, so I'll reply to that. All right. So I will not be sending a list of participants prior to the walk. Like I said, I'll be providing the number of who has signed up for your walk, so you can get a feel for, and get prepared for leading a walk for that amount of people. But if you really do want the list of people, I'm happy to provide it on request. That's totally fine. I can't share emails, but I can provide names if you're interested in that. And then Julia, you have your hand raised.
Hi there. I'm leading a virtual walk and I haven't seen it on the list of walks. I've checked
Okay.
a couple times. Yeah.
hmm Okay, Julia. Yeah, let me double check my email. I'll get back to you about that. I'm sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. And then John.
Yeah, yeah. We video here. Thanks for doing this. I've led walks for a few years, so this is not my first time, although I don't always get in on these chats. Um, I do want to. I have my question is about giving the phone number. So I do actually always tick the box to offer my phone number, make my
hmm
phone number available for guests, and it's fine. And generally it goes so. But what information do the guests receive on when to call? Because it would be nice. I mean, because I do want it to be available in case somebody generally has a very difficult problem, maybe finding it or something like that. But
Yeah.
what I don't want is people just saying I'm going to be 5 minutes late, which I get a bit of.
Mm.
And is there a way to curtail, like, so that it really is only the absolutely necessary phone calls, or ask them to text if preferable, because that obviously is much easier to deal with. That's
Yeah.
my question. And what I'm just wondering, how do the guests see that, and is there ways to improve it? Thank you.
Yeah, no, great question. Our system is a little bit archaic when it comes to the reminder emails and the confirmation emails. So it kind of just says the walk leader phone number, and then it gives the phone number if you chose to share that information with attendees. But we can definitely include a note like in the reminder email for people too, and in the confirmation, we can try to do that. But at least in the reminder email that goes out before the walk to yeah text people and then also like maybe just use it if they're actually gonna run late I because that is like the purpose of it is like if people are running late they're able to contact our team as well via phone and via the events email which is where they get all of the communications about the registration but ideally they're only using the phone number if they are super late and need to like find the group
Yeah, I
um,
mean,
mhm.
that's the thing. I can understand that, but I mean, and I don't know. I'm sure walks run differently. All of my walks would have at least a 10-minute introduction at the starting point. So 5 to 10 minute lateness is really just doesn't require anything.
Mm,
And it
mhm.
maybe, that I know that's not going to be a consistent, you know, pattern
Yeah.
across all Jane's walks. So I know this is a difficult, but I mean, yeah. So I actually kind of view lateness as, I mean, that's not what I would want it available for. Maybe I should just not tick the box. I don't know, but what I would really want is that I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, super late is one thing where they're going to need to meet at midway through the tour, or like I said, if they generally can't find it, which hopefully that's not a problem. But so
Yeah.
I guess that's my perspective.
Yeah. That's really helpful feedback. I think we can think about this for next year too, like how we can communicate about that better. And then also, yeah, I mean, generally for walks, we do ask that you like wait a couple minutes, like 5 minutes, or more, to wait for your group. That's also why having the registration count is helpful so that you know like who to expect. There usually is attrition with Jane's Walk since it is a free festival. People will often sign up for many walks, some at the same time. So we know that not everyone will show up. But yeah, having that count is helpful to know like, wait, should I wait longer or is there kind of critical mass here? Um, but that's a good thing for us to keep in mind when like, yeah, talking to walk leaders telling them to expect to let people, come a little bit later, and then also for attendees too. So, I'm not sure if there's like a big solution we can accomplish this year, but I can customize the reminder email a bit better this year about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously this is just for long term, but yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay. And I know there's some hands raised, but I saw, um, let's see, emergency contact. So emergency contact, like as a walk leader is me, I guess. And the phone number that is in all of the emails I send you and that I shared, that's where you can contact me. So that extension goes to my phone. So I always have my phone on me, and that's how you can contact me. Yeah. Right. But I can like send when I send emails closer to the festival, I can add like a more distinct, like section that talks about that. So thank you for that. Uh, okay. Yeah, it is possible to change the duration of the walk if you would like. That's also going to be a thing that we'll have to like email people who have signed up, telling them that the length has changed. If you feel like the length isn't going to change that much, it's not super important. Like maybe the walk's going to be like 10 minutes longer than you planned. That's okay. But if the walk is ending up going to be like 30 minutes longer than you communicated, then I think that is when okay, then yeah. Then yeah, you can email me and we can talk about updating that and I can notify anyone who signed up. Yeah, no problem. Okay, Cody, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, just wondering why we can't get the email lists. I've hosted Jane's Walks for, I don't know, the last couple of years. And it is kind of challenging to not kind of get to keep the relationship with these people. I really use these tours as like advocacy stuff. And I wind up sending out or kind of passing around my own email sign up at the beginning of the tour. But people come late, people don't write legibly, and you kind of lose these people who you invest a couple
Hmm.
hours into. So just wondering more of the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, my understanding is just like from like the legal team, and I think that it's just like a privacy thing. That's what I've always been told with that. But it is a good question, and I think I can look into that and see if we could like shift it for next year because I do understand that and I know that these are important relationships and I appreciate that you share your email at the events. That is encouraged. You can bring a clipboard, have people sign up. That's completely fine. I think it's just like a like consent to share email sort of thing, but I can talk to our lawyer about that and see if we can change it around because this festival is about making connections and building coalition and community. So that is important. And Cody, another thing we can always do is we can email the attendees on your behalf and be like, please sign up for the mailing list if you would like, so that it's another reminder, like after the walk. So that's a solution for this year, but for next year, hopefully we
Okay.
could change that. Yeah.
Awesome. Super helpful. Thanks. And yeah, if
Yeah.
we could push back on it a little bit with the legal team, that'd be super awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah. No problem. Okay. Susanna?
Hi. So this is my first year leading one. This is a little bit of a weird question, but so this is kind of an extension of my job. I'm doing a walking tour on the Yiddish theater. I work at a Yiddish institute. I have these like little Yiddish theater themed stickers. Would it be okay to like give them out to people as like a little souvenir, or would that be weird?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah. Sharing any sort of advocacy items or any items that you make like is totally fine. Yeah, that's totally okay. I think the only issue we have is like accepting donations or money or things like that. But anything else, completely fine. And that sounds really nice. So yeah, please bring those. Love that. Okay, and then Abigail.
Hi there. My name is Abigail. I've been working with Daisy Gonzalez. Together, we're running the Disability Justice Through the Ages tour.
Hmm.
Now, my question has to do with the context. Like, I understand not being able to access the emails, but just very curious. If anybody who signed up for that, have they expressed certain accessibility needs? Because, like I said, I really wanted to focus on that population and make sure that the walk is, suited for everyone. So kind of like having an awareness of maybe certain people might need an interpreter, or I might need to get like a microphone or to make it a little bit louder, or go at a slower pace, that would be really useful to have. But again, I don't have access to who signed up or who kind of expressed what they might need. But I just want to
Yeah.
get some clarification on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abigail. Yeah. So if you ever have like information you want to share with the attendees, like a map or questions like that, we can do that communication on your behalf. I know it's a little convoluted, but we can. So, Abigail, I'd be happy to ask those email lists. I can definitely share that ask with them, so that we can get any resources provided. I know that the steering committee for Jane's Walk, we are reaching out to find interpreters who can be in attendance on that walk as well. And also, we're also going to ask them if they'd like to attend any other walks so that we can provide that um, ASL interpretation for anyone else who wants it on a walk. So, yeah, maybe if you want to like write up a little description or what you would want to be asking attendees, Abigail, and then I can email them on your behalf if that sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That sounds
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. And then Jerry?
Hi, Genevieve. So quickly, the schedule, the written schedule is correct. I'm offering my tour on 3 different days, but the map doesn't show the Sunday tour. It's a minor point, but
Okay. I can check fix that. Yeah. Our system is a little clunky sometimes, but Sunday tour. Okay.
got it. Thanks.
I'll make it. Yeah, no problem. Okay. We got a question from Tom, and then I think I'm gonna turn it over to Jess, but we'll have more time for Q&A after Jess. Yeah, Tom?
Hi, thanks. That was really helpful. There was one slide that you had a note or a little caption saying "Avoid walk and talk." I've given my tour of Roosevelt Island to architecture students, urban studies students, urban design students, but not as the public. So I'm looking for tips in terms of delivery and what does that imply about avoid walk and talk?
Well, I think that's a
Yeah.
perfect segue for Jess
Right.
actually, because she
Okay.
will get into that a little bit, and it's a
Okay.
good note. That's an important thing to keep in mind. So I think I'll turn it over to Jess, and she can talk a bit about that. If that sounds good. We'll make sure that
Yeah,
question is answered.
Thanks.
yes, that sounds good. Genevieve, would you mind sharing the presentation?
Oh yeah.
Cool. I'll introduce
One
myself in the
minute.
meantime.
Yeah.
Um, Hi everyone. I'm Jess. I'm a high school assistant principal and a former middle school principal. And Also I've been doing Jane's Walk for a few years, and I'm a licensed tour guide. And I write for the New York Groove, and I love New York like everyone else here. And I've learned a lot over my last few years doing Jane's Walk and also teaching people how to teach. And so we'll be doing like a quick brainstorming and training activity, and making time for some Q&A about kind of on the ground practical things. And so yeah, that's what we'll do. James Walk is obviously, I think, most of our, favorite times of the year, a really great time to celebrate New York. And so a lot of what James Walk is about is, of course, the connection that you have to like your personal walk, the topic that you've picked. And so we'll talk through some things to make it like really sick for people, as well as to alleviate some like possible stress people might be feeling as not like professionals, perhaps. And so, yeah, that's that. If I move around, it's because my cat is jumping around. Cool. We can go to the next slide. We can skip through to a few.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think most people know what Jane's Block is. It's based on Jane Jacob, writer, urbanist, activist. And so much of what she talked about was a community based approach to city building. And, did not have any formal training as a planner, but was notable activist and urbanist and revolutionized city planning. And so much of what Jane's Walk is about is those community led conversations. And so what she really talks about was having, cities have the capability of providing something for everybody when they're created by everybody, which really is like the ethos of Jane's Walk. It's real community based. And that also defines so much of like what makes a successful walk. So much of what the walk is about those personal observations, the local history and civic And so when we talk about sharing stories, this is Opal, if you can see her. It's about discovering the unseen aspects of your own communities and connecting with like visitors and neighbors alike. And so, no need to share in the chat, but just thinking, or you can if you'd like to, but thinking in our heads, like, how does that connect to Jane Jacobs' work? And so, so much of her work was purpose and people centered urbanism. Based on that, and we can skip through to the last bullet point. Um, so based on that, it's really like connecting as a center of city life. There's no pressure to really like memorize or, be an expert, right? It's more about connecting to people. And so one of my favorite quotes as a teacher is people forget what you said, people will forget what you did, people will never forget how you made them feel. And so some questions to think about to guide your walk. First, what do you love about the city? How did you come to that connection or that love for whatever aspect of the city it is? And how can you bring others to that? Or how can others experience that connection? And so, some examples of walks that definitely provided inspo. And we can again click through to the last bullet point. Get outside to your local green space, host a writing workshop where you're not like just leading a walk, people are creating at the same time, focusing on change over time, taking folks on an art history tour, multimedia, like creating a playlist of songs about New York City, doing a mini food tour in a noted culinary neighborhood. Previously, there's been a public restroom tour of fully automated toilets and plans to improve bathroom access. There was also one year where there was a 9-minute walk that you can do to embrace like anywhere as a multi-sensory and meditative experience. There was a death walk where there was no talking really at all. People were silently walking through a cemetery. And so guiding principles are, your authentic love for the walk is what people walk away with, right? It's about how you make them feel. And so thinking through that, there's just some inspo with that, along with some basic logistics of talking and walking to answer that question from before. And Scott, to answer your question, I think we can definitely send you the deck. And so let's review some of those basic logistics. So some best practices. We can skip through to the last one. Keeping it simple is always nice. That famous acronym, keep it simple, stupid, even though I don't like that last word. Keeping it simple in terms of theme, route, and activities. I've definitely overcomplicated my walks in the past, and it's such a lot more like stress than I'd like to have. And so having a theme in your head is really helpful to like remember the sticking points of what you want people to walk away with. Having a simple route is really helpful, like 3 to 5, maybe 7 stops max, really about the experience versus how long it is. And then keep the activities simple as well, simple, logistically clear. Again, it's really about how people feel when they walk away. And then with communication, I always like to do like a very quick housekeeping section in the beginning, 1 to 2 minutes of like, if you can't hear me, like show me a sound signal, or like we'll have this many stopping points, or we'll have a bathroom break at whatever time, just so people are kind of oriented. It also helps to have some like questions at the beginning of housekeeping, because sometimes as you're waiting for people to file in, you want to like kill that silence with some crowd breaking or ice breaking things for the crowd. And then logistics, being loud is always helpful. I'm a teacher, so I definitely project. In the past, I've gotten a mic. They're really cheap online, but you don't have to do that. It's more about thinking about positioning, making sure you're facing the crowd while you're talking to them. Oftentimes, I have like the group line up away from the sidewalk, like closer, like to the wall or to the building, while I stand closer on the sidewalk, so we can like have a pathway for folks. And then if you're like good at walking and talking and breathing and projecting at the same time, more power to you. And at the same time, to preserve some of your energy and stamina and volume and voice, especially if you're doing multiple walks, you might want to stop while you're like seeing some major points. Oftentimes, if there's a long stretch of walking between stops, I ask questions to the crowd and, try to spark some conversation between people, because again, it's also about connecting. And then, of course, engagement. Interaction is helpful. Again, having questions on hand. Experiences are helpful, whether it's like Jane Jacobs based eyes on the street principle, engaging people in the five senses, having questions to throw out to facilitate discussion is also helpful. And then in terms of walking logistics, planning the route is helpful. Do a practice walk once or twice. Know where the stopping points are. One year I did a walk that like focused near on a community garden. And then I realized that a few times a week there would be street cleaning and other construction like type things or maintenance things happening that made it really hard to hear. And so that helped me inform what time I would do the walk. Having stopping points is helpful. Again, I see some comments in the bathroom, excuse me, in the chat about bathroom. Helpful to figure out where a local bathroom might be. Libraries are a good spot. Really great map, publicly available on Google Maps called Got to Go that has publicly map available bathrooms listed. Um, and then, as I mentioned, housekeeping logistics are always really helpful at the beginning. And then, yes, definitely, as John mentioned, if you do use a microphone or a speaker, make sure that you're allowed to have amplified sound in that space. We'll do brainstorming very quickly and then move on to questions because I think a lot of folks have submitted their walks already. And so you probably already like actualized a lot of these questions. But again, what do you love about the city? How did you come to that connection? And how can you bring others to that connection? I mentioned this concept of eyes on the street. Jane Jacobs introduced that phrase to underscore how having engaged or present community members, aka the people sitting on the stoop, hanging out at the corner, those are really important to the fabric of the community because they collectively uphold that neighborhood well-being. So we won't take the whole 10 minutes to do this, but a really helpful like set of things to think about is how when you walk through your tour, can you use all five senses? It really helps things stand out from your walk topic. It also helps guide, people to that connection and that experience that you have in the city. And using those five senses also, of course, creates engagement during the walk, right? Being present, being mindful, really engaging. What can you see, feel, sense, experience? Again, it helps people walk away with an experience and really that connection to the city. And so we'll pause right now to take some time for questions. And of course, Genevieve, if you want to add anything on, please do. But yeah, just like some questions to walk away from as you plan your walk. Really exciting time to like get other people to love the city, of course, as much as we all do. And yeah, we'll take some time to answer questions. Feel free to like pop it in the chat and I'll read them out loud or raise a hand, whatever works. There's Opal, if you haven't seen her yet.
Hi, can I just?
Kathy, I see your hand.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sure. No, whatever. Sorry. We'll do Ruth and then Kathy.
So I just wanted to answer that gentleman's question because it was a question I had from last year, which was my first walk. Don't walk and talk at the same time or something like that. So I learned from the person who was training. I did the in-person Gansevoort training last year. And when you give some information out at, let's say, stop number 1, and then as you're walking to stop number 2, you could discuss what you saw at stop number 1 and any other little things, but don't give out new information when you're only talking to one person or 2 people on either side of you. Wait till you say, that's a really good question. Let me get to it when I get to stop number 2, or if you're going to get to it at stop number 3 or whatever, and hold off on so that everybody could hear those pearls of wisdom from you. So en route, you're kind of reiterating what you already shared or information of general knowledge about the city or whatever else, but not sharing new information that you think might be important for everybody to kind of hear. And so that was how it was explained to me. I tried to do that last year, so I am passing it on.
That's such a great piece of advice, especially the piece about repeating the question so that everyone hears it and is on the same page. Thank you. Kathy?
Yeah, so I have a tour and a walk that I already do for another group. And I'm trying to think how much I need to do to adapt it to this because I'm not used to like stopping just at a certain number of points. I kind of walk and get to a place and talk about it, and then I walk and get to another place. So I don't know if that fits in with your way of doing things.
No, it totally fits in, right? Because some walks don't even have talking at all. If you have done like a tried and true walking tour and it's worked, then by all means do it. These are just some like tips for people who like might be newer to it. But if it works for you, it works for you. That sounds great.
Yeah, I don't usually do it with such a large group though. Um,
It
so
might be helpful because you have to think often about like the average walking speed. So I think talking and walking is up to you, but it might be helpful to add some extra stopping points or maybe like some pacing thoughts, maybe you walk slower than you'd expect or just kind of are guided by the pace of the group because the larger size will definitely factor into that.
but it's okay to stop as many times as you want to show some.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I see Jerry's question in the chat about mobility issues. And so one thing I would say is it's always helpful for people to have information. And so one part of the form is about what accessibility needs might be needed. And so that's definitely something to specify in the form. And I think Genevieve, folks can still add that on. Yes?
Yeah, so like Jess said, in the submission form, you were asked to include information about accessibility, but if you do want to make that section like more robust on your walk and talk more about what sort of surfaces you'll be going on, if there's stairs, things like that, that would be really great to add. So let me know. You can email me and I can add that. And then also, yeah, I mean, at the beginning of your walk, I think Jess sort of mentioned this, but it's always good to mention like how when you'll be stopping, if there'll be any chances for sitting, things like that, so that people like can get that in their mind and be like, oh cool, like walking's a lot for me, but good to know I'll have some chances to sit. So yeah, giving information like that is really helpful.
And then I
Hmm.
also see Jerry's follow up about like, will we let you know if any registrants have special needs? I think that it's up to registrants to decide which walks they select based upon that accessibility information because there's not a space for them to disclose needs that they might have. But because we clarify the accessibility needs, I think that should be pretty clear to folks. Does that sound correct, Genevieve?
Yeah, that sounds correct, definitely. But if we get anyone who emails us about a question related to that, then we can relay that to you. Yeah.
And then there was a photo about if there's walks for folks that have disabilities. I think there's at least a few that are focused on like different needs. But I think you can chat more about that.
Yes, there are certain walks that are catered towards people who have different needs. So that's something that folks can find when they're looking at the schedule. And then this year we actually, like Abigail, who's here tonight, is leading a disability justice walk in collaboration with Daisy Gonzalez, who works at DOT and is one of our steering committee members. So this is one of the first times we've had like a walk in recent history that's like really focused on disability justice, which is very exciting. And like I said, this year we're thinking more about how we can make our walks more accessible to everyone. So I'm glad that we're going to have some ASL interpretation on walks. I'm hopeful that in the future we can make that something that you can indicate on your submission form, like if you want to be able to provide that. Whether it's translation or whether it's you want to do a walk that's really specific to people of different abilities. I would love to, have that be more of like a thing that we're asking for. Yeah, so that's that answer for now, but I'm glad people are bringing that up.
Julia, I see that you have a hand raised. Sorry, Genevieve, I forgot you
Oh
off.
no, you're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
thank
But
you.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm leading a self-guided walk, and I wanted to ask if there is a way to, how are we planning to communicate the stops to our participants? Are we writing something that will be posted on the website? Are we directing them to a resource?
Yeah, Julia, I think we can email about this
Okay,
because I think
cool.
that's one thing I wanted to ask you via email earlier was about like what will be on your event page.
Great.
Because for self-guided walks, usually it's a PDF or a document that people can access and that outlines
Cool.
the stops you're going on. So yeah, we can develop that, we can talk about that. And then when someone goes to the event page from the calendar, there will be a big yellow button that says like access now, and that's how they'll access the walk. So
Great.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to bring to light what John is saying here. It's useful to remember that some people may not appear at first to have disabilities, and some people won't share that they do. And that's very true. And that's good to keep in mind. Just as you're leading your walk, also good to keep in mind that not everyone walks at the same pace as you. Some people walk faster or slower. So keeping that in mind and being able to do your walk at the pace and in alignment with everyone's abilities is what matters the most. So great.
I don't
Okay,
think
yeah.
it looks like we have any other questions for now.
Yeah.
The last call for any questions. Okay, I'm doing a rat and pigeon walk on Sunday, so if you haven't checked it out, do check it out. Such an exciting time of year. I'm really excited to hopefully be on some of your walks, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yay. Thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Jess. That was fantastic.
Thank
And
you.
so great to see everyone. And yeah, really excited to have y'all involved. Jane's Walk is very special, and I'm really grateful to have you all a part of the
Thank
community.
you.
Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you.
Have a good night. Take care.
Bye.